All right, one of the most common DMs, or the most popular DM I get, is girls asking me, how do you get a job as a cart girl? I want to be a cart girl so bad. How do you get your job? How do I start doing that? And you guys, I want to say it's just as easy as applying to like any job. Okay, I would start by like going online, searching all the local golf courses, seeing if some have online applications, go in person asking for applications, follow up with the food and beverage manager. Hey, I submitted my application. Do not follow up with the pro shop. The pro shop and the food and beverage portion of each golf course is separate. And trust me, the pro shop wants nothing to do with figuring out who's hiring cart girls, right? Like if you want to be hired as like outdoor services, as something with like the golf course side of things, you're going to do the pro shop. And then if you want to be hired like in the restaurant or as a bartender or a cook or anything of the sort, go to the food and beverage manager of that golf course. Most courses, you've got to work your way up to being a cart girl because, right, everybody wants to be a cart girl. Why wouldn't you? First thing you want to consider when applying for a cart girl job is the time of year it is, right? So here in Arizona, we are starting to get off of our prime peak season because we're going into the summer. Now, I'm from Michigan. Now is the time they're about to go into their peak season. Spring, summer, fall is like the best time to golf in the northern states. If you live in Arizona, applying now to be a cart girl, they're probably not hiring. Alone, the course in general is just probably not hiring. We're preparing to become very slow. But if you're like in a northern state and the weather is about to get perfect, you're about to be in prime golf season, now would be the time to apply. So if I still lived in Michigan, I would be already applying to courses to work in the summer. So like in Arizona, the perfect time to apply for a cart girl job or working at the golf course in general would be like end of the summer because we're preparing for our busy season. Also, if you want to stand out, it is extremely beneficial if you have golf experience. Okay, so make sure you put that on your application. Like, hey, I've been a golfer for X amount of years, or I've been a bartender for X amount of years. So more bar experience, more golf experience. That is going to put your application at the very top of a stack of applications with people who have no experience. Things can most definitely be taught, but if I were like a hiring manager, I would look, okay, does this person have bartending experience and what kind of golf knowledge do they have? Because trust me, it is very beneficial to have knowledge of your surroundings on the golf course. Okay, now let me tell you how I got my job at the golf course. So I wanted to work for a particular golf group. This golf group owned multiple golf courses in the area and I live on one of them. So I wanted to work for the course that I lived on. That's where I started. I went to the course I lived on. I spoke to the food and beverage manager. I said, hey, I would love to be a cart girl. And she said, not hiring. At the time, this was like March, okay? We are getting towards the end of our prime season. They weren't hiring in any position at the golf course. I didn't give up, and so I went over to their other course that was down the street, and I asked if they were hiring. He was very honest and said, no, we're not hiring cart girls right now, but we are hiring in the pro shop. So guess what I did? I worked for 3 weeks in the pro shop, checking golfers in, answering phone calls, and booking tee times. 3 weeks later, the restaurant manager at that golf course that I was working in the pro shop needed some help behind the bar. So I said, yes, sign me up. 1 week later, I was out cruising the golf course in the beverage cart. So moral of the story is, sometimes things take a little time and you gotta work your way up. And for me, it paid off. It was only a month of working in the pro shop, which is still funny for me to think, like looking back, like me working in the pro shop, but it honestly was kind of fun.